Hello, everyone. Welcome to our new show. Well, kind of, not really. I mean,
Kind of an old
it's
show.
the same old stuff we've done, but this is now episode number 1 of ForceChatter.
We're number one.
And he's using the right finger when he holds that up.
That's true. This is a family-friendly show so far.
Exactly. So, we have shut down Echo Base and Outer Rim. We're still going to be doing the same things that we've done in those shows in the past, just doing them now under the ForceChatter brand name.
Outside, it still feels like we're in Echo Base.
It does feel chilly out there. A little chillier in Tim's part of the base than my part, but...
Yeah, my heat broke down out here, so...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Our heat didn't break down,
Bummer.
but we're getting snow tomorrow. Though probably less than you're getting. I have to drive like an hour away in it, though, to go get dental surgery, so that's fun.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, you're getting that done finally.
Yeah, the good news is I will be completely happy for an hour on the way home because I'll have no clue what's going on.
Well, hopefully someone else is driving.
Yeah, let's hope so, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
why
and also,
would...
you do know the Rebel Alliance doesn't pay for dental procedures, right?
Well,
I mean...
Yeah, we're on a budget here.
We use Wampas. They just kind of take a swipe at it and knock the tooth right out. It's all good.
This is why the Empire is so much better.
Full comprehensive health care.
Right.
Comprehensive dental plan. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's get right into some news. So we had some casting. Now, this isn't really official news yet, right?
Correct.
This is just rumored at this point still?
But it's been rumored for a long time. And now we have a media outlet who is saying, okay, we have confirmed with our sources that the contract has been signed.
Okay, good. So what we're talking about is Lars Mikkelsen being the on-screen version of Thrawn we've been waiting for forever. So this is good news. I mean, he has voiced Thrawn in Rebels. His family's got pretty strong ties to Star Wars too. So his older brother, older by a whole year exactly, played Galen Erso in Rogue One. What do you guys think about this news?
I was thinking I'd get more smiles out of this guy over here.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not
that's
even
going to him first. I mean, Tim. I mean, you're the Thrawn guy, self-proclaimed Thrawn guy. Because we all like Thrawn, but you just seem to talk louder than the rest of us.
He's been the one obsessed with about we need a whole Thrawn trilogy of films and they're coming next week.
They are.
Yeah.
Did he ever call it the Thrawn verse?
My sources confirm that. No, well, I like Lars Mikkelsen. I think he's good. I think he's a good choice. Obviously, the voice thing works, and I think the physical appearance works just fine too. I also appreciate the fact that this confirms, if this news is in fact good, that this confirms that we are going to get a live action Thrawn, which means we're going to get story, hopefully a continuation from where we left off after Rebels. Or at least some point after that. Obviously, we know
which
that.
Was where? I mean, bring us up to speed for those who don't know or may not have remembered where we left off with Thrawn.
Well, he and Ezra were aboard the Chimera, and then
Cthulhu came in with all the tentacles.
The space whale. Yes, the Cthulhu space whale came in, who opens up wormhole kind of hyperspace things, and boom, gone.
Yeah.
I did that wrong. I should have went to Tom for the explanation of where we left off, because Tom is the keeper of all the knowledge. Tim is just
the keeper of all the hyperbole.
I mean, look,
exactly. Yeah.
to be specific, Jai Cal, who was Ezra's friend and cohort at the Imperial Academy on Lothal, signaled the Purgil on frequency 0, which is this frequency that they communicate on.
Tom, you forgot the actually.
Thanks for this.
Actually.
Tom, can you push your glasses up a little bit when you?
Yeah. So obviously Tom is getting ready for a trivia thing, which we'll talk about in a little while. But he's getting everything set for that, so he knows all the details about everything.
He will get nothing wrong.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited about this, and obviously we had the reference to Thrawn in the second season of The Mandalorian with Ahsoka looking for him. So, and of course we don't know, obviously that's a considerable time has passed since Rebels between that, so we don't know like exactly where she's looking for him, like where he is. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting. I mean, whatever story we get, I'm looking forward to.
I think he's a great fit in the sense that his voice in Rebels was just perfect. Like if he could narrate my life in that voice, in that measured sort of just thoughtful tone, like he could be reading a McDonald's menu and it would sound like grand strategy, I think. And
you know, I had a really hard time with the voice at first. Like I'm used to it now, but both Lars' take on it and then Mark Thompson in the audiobooks, which does basically the version of the same voice. I just had a really hard time with that kind of whole slurred. I'm like, what is he drunk?
Really?
What's going on there? I got used to it. But like initially I'm like, oh, like I was physically cringing for about the first 20 seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
See, I like it because it was a deviation from the standard sort of British, like proper British accent that we are used to with other Imperial officers. And it sort of, at least in an audio sense, did this clear, made a clear difference between him being from some other world and not a cut from the same cloth as the rest of the Imperials and then the normal Imperial officers. I also think I think folks are going to have to strap in. I think largely, he's got the sort of features that make Thrawn, namely the high cheekbones. I would have preferred Mads to be in the role, but obviously he can't do that. The fact that he's got a brother that's a year apart and did the voice, I mean, like that's fate if there ever was anything, or maybe the Force. And so, but I think people, much like Ahsoka, are going to have to get ready, just like they did with Rebels, to adjust to a different appearance of him on screen. I think I don't think they're certainly not going to capture the Rebels look. And Filoni's whole thing was like, this is a stylized version of the galaxy, right? Don't get too fixated on what you see on screen in any animated show, because it's just, that's what it is. Right. And so I think that's going to take some adjustment, but they've got the right guy in my mind to do it.
Yeah. Are we concerned at all that they didn't find a blue-skinned actor to play? I'm sorry. I won't go there.
You had to cause a problem, didn't you, Lou?
I saw the anthill and wanted to kick it over. I'm sorry.
My gosh.
There are a lot of Pantorans out there that are really upset about this casting. Denied an opportunity.
I mean, if this is true, I'm happy about it. Of all the people that were listed, my top two picks were him and Matt Smith, who was rumored a while back. Haven't heard his name recently on it, though. Yeah, I mean, even Robert Downey Jr. was rumored at one point, and that was one I kind of fought back against.
Rumor.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
Some people really liked it.
As much as I love RDJ, that's just,
I'm a big fan, but just too distracting. Like I don't want. I keep saying I look at the Jedi Council in Episode 1, and I see Yoda and Ki-Adi-Mundi and Yaddle and all these other people, and then Samuel L. Jackson. I don't see Mace Windu. I see Sam Jackson, and I don't want that to be Thrawn. I want Thrawn to be someone I don't immediately recognize.
Right. It's good to have somebody who's not unknown, but less visible than like an RDJ.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's clearly talented. I mean, obviously he's got the voice because he is the voice. Yeah, no, if this is true, and I have every reason to believe it is, I'm thrilled. This is great news. He did 17 episodes of Rebels?
A lot of Thrawn.
Yeah.
A lot of Thrawn.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed for that. And as we get more information about the Ahsoka series when it comes out, I'm sure we'll hear more. Let's see some network announcements. Eric, we have a new show logo.
We do. In fact, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, down here in the corner, right behind my little R2D2 guy here, you'll see the new logo for ForceChatter, designed by someone who is in the chat room right now as I speak. We call him Tech because his full name it's not quite family inappropriate, but it's kind of a pun that kind of is. So to be safe, we just kind of steer away from it. It's like not that bad, but we just refer to him as Tech. And he made this brilliant logo for us. We love it.
It's fantastic.
It really is. And this is the first time we actually get to show it off. This is the debut of the logo. Even most of our staff haven't seen this logo yet. And it's.
I'm looking forward to getting my shirt and sweatshirt with that logo.
Yes, I am too. And
it is excellent.
And Tech, we're going to send you a little something with the logo on it too. So thank you very much for that. We are so grateful. And that also brings us to the other point, as people should know by now. ForceChatter is here. It's new, episode 1, and it is a conglomeration of, that's a big word, an amalgamation.
Amalgamation, yeah.
It's a blend of all of the previous Star Wars shows together. So we're still doing what we did on Echo Base. We're still doing what we did on the Outer Rim. We're going to be doing even more, because this now, like if we want to do a couple of short episodes or review the next trailer that comes out for the Bad Batch or something like that, we don't have to release it as a special. We don't have to like have a whole new show, like podcast name for like quick little episodes. It's all just ForceChatter. It's all just one branding, one show, one playlist in YouTube, all that. So it's going to be simpler for you guys. If you're following the audio podcast, just stay in the feed you're in right now. If you've got the whole Random Chatter network, you'll automatically get this. If you're just subscribing to the shows individually, both Echo Base and Outer Rim should point directly into this new RSS feed. You should very shortly get automatically redirected in iTunes. All of that stuff should be automated. If you have any questions about it, any difficulties with it, ironic that that's the word I tripped up on, difficulties. Go figure. Let us know. Hit us up in Discord or email us, admin@randomchatter.com, or Lou@randomchatter.com. We'll let Lou deal with it. He doesn't have enough to do with this life. So we'll let Lou fix the technical stuff. But that's it. So
sure,
welcome. First episode of ForceChatter, and you're here at the beginning of it. So congratulations to you too.
There you go. Now we also have something else. And one of our members here on this podcast with us tonight is getting ready for a pretty heavy duty trivia. Tom, why don't you take it? Yeah, Tom, you got to bone up your skills there. So,
jeez.
So what exactly are you doing? Where can people get more information about this and follow you and see how great you really are?
Yeah, this is traditionally I do trivia at a high level at Dragon Con, which if you want to see it, you have to be at Dragon Con, which is sort of prohibitive for many folks. This is the first opportunity I've had. I've been chasing this opportunity for a few years now. It's with the Schmodown. So if you're not familiar with it, this is a sort of a movie trivia league that's styled. It has like an undercurrent of like wrestling in it, where you've got characters. Not everybody plays a character or anything like that, but you've got sort of rivalries and matchups. But the league itself has been around for a number of years. It's grown in popularity, but they have different divisions, and Star Wars is its own division. And I finally get the chance this year to compete in it. And on Friday night, this upcoming Friday, the 29th, they'll have a draft. So there are 8 what they call factions, so teams that each have 12 roster slots that for trivia players, and the manager of each one of those factions will get a chance, just like in the in a pro sports draft, to go through each round, and they'll have a pick, and they get to pick a player. If they pick depending on how their roster is filling out, that's going to dictate their strategy as to who they pick up. So I don't know where I'm going to land in it. I think myself and the 2 other folks from Dragon Con are at least coming in with a good reputation, since we do trivia every year on this level. But it'll be exciting. I don't know when my matches will be, but I know that the draft is Friday night. So if you want to tune in, it'll be on YouTube on the Schmodown Entertainment Network. They'll stream it live starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So come see where I land, and then we can all root for my faction together and hope that I don't get smashed in my first match.
Absolutely.
Very cool. I love that they're called factions, not teams. I think this is
definitely a little more aggressive that way.
Yeah.
Be sure to hop into Discord or give one of us a heads up a little bit before the match, and we will post a link to it. We'll hop into the On the Air channel in the Discord server if you don't. and we'll post a link
Sure.
and make sure everybody can hop in and watch.
Absolutely.
And cheer you on, because you will make no mistakes. There's an intense, deep glare there at you that our audio listeners aren't getting.
One fatal mistake, I'll have the exhaust port, and somebody will exploit it and destroy me at the very end.
No,
He's
we
cruising
have
to a
faith, we have
victory.
faith.
Nothing can stop him now. Uh-oh.
We do have some other news involving Tom. Later this week, Tom is experiencing the anniversary of another day of his birth.
You're old.
Or the anniversary of another year of his birth, actually.
Yes.
So
Your birth
Tom,
took a
happy birthday,
year?
buddy.
Thank you.
Dude, your mom must
Thank
hate you.
know, normally I do it in 9 months, but this year with the pandemic, it got stretched out a little bit, so it took 12. But we're not going to have the sort of Gungan style like celebration like you see in Theed and the Phantom Menace. It'll be a little more scaled down, but we'll see. It'll be fun.
You have a birthday anniversary thing this week too, don't you, Tim?
We've got
Yeah,
yours is before mine.
And
Yes.
and Eric's is coming up too soon, right?
Yes.
And Lou doesn't have one this week, but then Lou's so old that he doesn't need more. So I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. We'll put mine
deferred
off until the end of the year. Yeah.
We're the three of us are combining ours to try to catch up with Lou. So we figured in about another 40 or 50 years,
please,
we'll be close.
Please, I'm not that old.
I don't
You guys
know.
pass me with all three of you combined. Anyway, even though we have a new show, we have the same contact information we've always had. Keep up with us on Twitter at RandomChatter, also at ForceChatter. If you want to join our Discord server, we'd love you to be there and talk with us, about all the shows we do and everything else. RandomChatter.com/Discord. And of course, now that we have a YouTube channel and doing video shows, we'd love you to be there and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at RandomChatter.com/YouTube. And now back to our news. One of the guys that we all love, actor in Star Wars, Alan Tudyk, was going to be part of the Andor series, and we were all excited about this because he plays K2SO, and we love that character in the movie. But he's not going to be in the series right away, right? So I guess there was some changing of the timeline in the season. They've gone back a little more in time than they originally had planned on before Cassian is hooked up with K2SO. So unfortunately, we're not going to get to see Alan Tudyk in season 1. Just for other things, you can check him out on Resident Alien. It starts on Sci-Fi Channel on, I think, the 27th of this month, as far as seeing him in stuff. But are you guys sad, like I am, about Alan Tudyk not being in season 1 of Andor? Eric?
A little bit.
That's the only reason I was going to watch.
We're writing it off now.
I mean, there's a TV series coming out called Watching Paint Dry, and I wasn't going to watch it until I heard Alan Tudyk is the one painting, and I thought, yeah, I'm in.
I'd watch that.
Wow.
I mean, it's Alan Tudyk. How can you not have him in whatever project you're doing? Lord of the Rings, put Alan Tudyk in it. Game of Thrones prequel, put Alan Tudyk in it. Like he makes everything better. Why would you then take him out? Unless it is so that later when you do put him in, like you had that example of what the world was like without him. And then upon his glorious entrance to the series, people are like, oh, thank goodness. And it's just like this sigh of relief going out across the world as they realize, it's like the whole thing. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. Well, now that it's gone, it builds up that tension. And then when he's arrived, the whole world is just a better place. COVID will be done. There'll be world peace.
You are really putting Alan on a pedestal here. I mean,
you've met the guy, right?
Pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's Alan.
I would have been fine if obviously they kind of warmed up to the introduction, maybe the 3rd or 4th episode or something, having K2SO come in. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer that he's not going to be there for the entire first season.
It really is.
But then also the other bit of news out of this, I guess, is that there's going to be more than one season.
That's not confirmed. And even he said This is not me saying that there's another season. If there is another season, that's where I'm going to be.
Right.
There's a quote here. One of us should read it probably. This is from Collider. Oh, I guess I'll read it since I brought it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Alan Tudyk said, they're shooting it right now. I'm not in it. But if it stays on the air, stories keep getting told, I'll end up in there. I'm going to be in the show. It's just that the story that Tony Gilroy is telling, he's the showrunner. The story that Tony is telling doesn't involve K2SO until later on. I can't be too specific, but I can definitely say that I'm not going to be in the first season. So, it's not a confirmation of the second season. It is a confirmation that he will be in it at some point. It's a confirmation that
if they get that far, right.
The story doesn't involve K2SO until later on, meaning it does eventually involve him. He won't be in season 1. So all of the extrapolation from this is that there has to be a season 2.
Right.
At least as far as Gilroy has the vision for it. And
Yeah, true. They've got
like
that thought
anything.
process and,
So it's tentative.
outlined on a napkin
which I like.
somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they've got this plan laid out. And I'll look at this as a glass half full, that they have at least enough confidence in what he's made so far that they've been comfortable backing up the timeline. Whether that in reality is driven because he says, hey, the story that I want to tell doesn't fit in the timeline that you've given me, so we need to back it up.
Yeah.
That might be, but I like to think that, hey, they really like the product that they're seeing put together. They think this is going to do gangbusters. Let's give a little more breathing room so we can squeeze some more story in, as opposed to trying to ramrod, 3-4 seasons into a tiny little period and have people sort of scratching their heads.
Yeah, and that's kind of, so there are two different theories on this, and they may actually both be the case. One is that they want to go a little bit earlier with the story, which then gives them more room to tell more story, which is good. And then the other one is that with COVID and how it's been affecting production and everything, Alan Tudyk doing Resident Alien, there might have been some conflicts there schedule-wise. But then I don't know anything about when the Resident Alien production was done. The pilot aired a long time ago, didn't it? Wasn't it?
Production's been done for a while because they aired episode 1 at New York Comic Con 2019.
Okay, so they've been holding off on
episode. It wasn't finished for final touches on CGI and stuff.
Okay,
but
so there probably wasn't much overlap there.
I wouldn't think so.
All right, so they probably just wanted to go earlier with Cassian Andor's story, and that's
which, to Tom's point, I think is a good thing. If they want to give themselves more room to tell more story, that's great. So,
I mean, I guess there is a story for Cassian. I mean, kind of the story that was alluded to in Rogue One of, his past before he does come, because presumably he picks up K2 when he's with the rebellion, and it's the rebellion that reprograms him and such. So, I guess if this goes to his time, either before the rebellion or just getting into it or something like that, okay, I'm down with it. It's a little bit of a bummer that K2 is not going to be there, but I suppose it does open up some more potential for story.
Yeah. Hey, the sooner they can get to Thrawn, the better. That's all I'm saying. Whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a trilogy coming up.
That's what we should have had. We should have had Alan Tudyk as Thrawn.
Trilogy. No, I don't see that.
Only if Thrawn would wear a Hawaiian shirt.
Maybe he's
I'd be down for
Captain
that.
Palan.
You don't know what happened after those Purrgil jumped them out of there. He could have gotten into some wild.
I have totally lost control, haven't I?
Yep.
We're talking about Thrawn and Hawaiian shirts.
Did you have control?
Lost control?
I mean,
no,
I'm actually wondering
not
if
really.
There's actual Thrawn news, Lou. I don't know what thought made you think that,
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, speaking of other television properties that are doing well for Star Wars, The Mandalorian, the finale hit #1 on Nielsen's streaming top 10. That's good news. I mean, we have to go to streaming stuff now because everything's streaming. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The Mandalorian had 1.3 billion minutes streamed.
That's a lot of minutes.
How many how many minutes were in the episode?
Oh, I'm not doing math.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Not
Like
when it involves that
40-some
many
minutes, I
digits. Yeah.
So, I mean, in comparison, The Office normally tops that list at 1.31 billion minutes. So at 1.33, a little bit higher, hey, it's doing better than The Office, which, I think by anybody's standards is pretty good.
And let's keep in mind, this is before The Office moved to Peacock. This is when The Office was still on Netflix, and nothing got to number one ahead of The Office. Like, that was the thing, and it maintained.
And how amazing is that?
Right. I mean, The Office and Friends both.
Yeah.
You know what? But The Office is one of those shows I think people just let run in the background. Yeah. Whereas this number for The Mandalorian, I think, is more impressive, especially if that number of minutes is just that last episode. At 1.33 billion, it's got to be the entire season. But still, I think you have a lot less of. I think that's people like butt in seat watching it versus The Office, where hey, I'm cooking and I'll put it on in the background, or I'm just
right.
Studying.
It's too new to be background.
Right. Yeah. People are more attentively watching it.
Yeah. And I will say I don't know when we're going to expect our check, but we the four of us accounted for 1.3 billion of those minutes. So I assume
easily.
I was going to ask how many we did. So interestingly enough, in this article we linked to, this is on theforce.net. It says here are the top 10 streaming shows as they placed. It says The Mandalorian, Disney Plus, 16 episodes had 1.336 billion minutes. The Office, with 192 episodes, had 1.311.
That's another good point.
Wow.
cheaters.
So, I mean, 16 episodes versus 192 episodes, that's huge.
Yeah.
If I'm interpreting that right.
Well, that Office number is mostly episodes with Star Wars references in it. So cross-pollination there. Dwight dressing up as a Sith.
Yeah. Disney's got to be happy about that.
Exactly. So we have a new book announced. This is an interesting concept, a biography book written by Kristen Baver, and she's writing this as if the characters are real people.
Wait, they're not?
Which I think is a fascinating take.
Whoa, hold up.
Wait.
What are you saying, Lou?
That doesn't compute, Lou.
Do we have to go over this again, guys?
You saw Luke,
they're characters
right in the documentary. Like, you've seen, how many times have you watched that documentary, Lou? You see him. He's real.
True.
The movies are all documentaries.
How could it not be real? So the documentary that happens 30 years later,
Thrawn isn't real.
Luke Skywalker's 30 years older, Lou. Do the math.
Oh, I have totally lost control once again. I thought I was back on track.
Obviously, there's going to be a biography. I mean,
now, guys, never mind.
We broke Lou. This is so awesome.
So anyway, yeah, we have a biography coming out about real people in a galaxy far, far away that is there. Yeah. So this is from DK Publishing. He's going to. No, I don't think so. He's not a Skywalker.
You have to check the footnotes.
So the biography is Skywalker: A Family at War, and it's covering, I guess, everybody who has the name Skywalker and taking it on themselves to become a Skywalker, I guess. So, I mean, this is from DK Publishing, comes out later in the spring, I guess. They give a date? I forget.
No, they just generally in the spring. But yeah, so this is going to start with Shmi, go to Anakin, obviously Luke, Ben, and even Rey, because Rey kind of adopted the name.
She takes on a name, yeah.
And Leia.
Oh, and Leia. I'm sorry, that's right. So yeah, it's a pretty considerable thing, and I think it's cool to kind of do this as a biography.
Yeah.
It says it obviously references everything that's canonical. So I don't know that they're necessarily going to be putting anything new in there, but it at least gives us all that information in one place, especially since we've had, like the Leia book, which is, by the way, folks, a really, really good book, young adult book. It's freaking awesome. And then, you've got all these other offshoot things that like are off of the movies that people may not have been aware of or or whatever. So I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it's If you don't know Kristen, she does This Week in Star Wars on the Star Wars YouTube channel, which is really great. She's just a delightful person. But to Tim's point, rather than going on and being overwhelmed by the Wikipedia articles for each of these characters, I love a good reference book, and I love some of the books that I love the most are the ones that take this sort of unique bend on things.
Right.
So like Pablo Hidalgo's propaganda book, which sort of weaves the story of pieces of art and from a different lens, or like the Jason C. Fry Warfare of Star Wars, where it's taking sort of a serious look. They've done this before in different contexts, but the ability to encapsulate the Skywalker saga in a book like this is awesome. I think you are going to get little tidbits here and there of stuff. You may get some unique art for things that you haven't seen before, something that maybe popped up in a book or was talked about, but you've never seen before. That's always a unique feature. So I'll be picking this up. I'm a sucker for a good, unique reference book.
Yeah,
like this.
I agree with you. Sometimes reference books can be kind of dry, and even the interesting ones, a lot of times you skim over the paragraphs and just isolate the one or two sentences that contain things you don't know. And you look at the pictures.
Yeah.
Something that is a biography, it's a little bit more narrative. And I mean, how many times have we rewatched the movies too? I mean, this is basically, we're getting that same content that we like to go back and revisit, but we're getting it in a new way. So that's a benefit.
Yeah. 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 No, I think this is cool.
You guys looking for another way to spend your hard-earned cash on Star Wars stuff?
Yes. Do they finally have products for 75 cents? Because
no.
Well, then no.
Are they finally selling Black Series figures in stores?
That was a good one.
That's good.
That was funny.
Good, yeah. Although, so the link we're talking about here is a new merchant. What?
I can get a PS5?
Not in Star Wars.
Is that what Lou's getting us all for our birthdays?
Thanks, Lou.
You're so awesome. I take
have.
back all those old references I've ever made, which are numerous.
In my attic, I found my PS3 and my PS2. I'm going to put them together in a box and send you a PS5.
No. They don't add up like that.
They do. They do.
That's actually
They
good,
don't
Lou.
multiply,
I like
they
that.
add. It was somebody else. I think Tim had told me that before. You can send it put together. Anyway, so we have a new Star Wars merchandise program in conjunction with Amazon, which I was kind of surprised about. It's like an Amazon store for Star Wars stuff.
Finally.
Yeah. And quite literally, you go to Amazon.com/Star Wars.
Yep.
And there you are.
If only we had birthdays coming up soon.
Do you have a gift list all set up?
Actually, I do. We could post it here, and people could get us birthday presents. And we could post it right here in the chat.
You could.
It'd be a little self-serving.
It's called Adventure Across the Galaxy, and like I said, it is Amazon.com. It's a store just for Star Wars stuff, and they do have links down below as you scroll down the page for Lego and Disney stuff and Mando Mondays, and of course the one I clicked on was there was a Black Series link. I was like, ooh, that's really cool. I can just order Black Series stuff here and then I'm like, okay, so everything is like really overpriced. I don't know.
Are they?
Most Black Series figures here are going for like $27, $37.
Oh, okay, but keep in
$40.
mind that those still might also be through third-party sellers too, and they're just listing all of the different items.
I'm sure they are.
Now,
right?
did you go to the special store that they had? So when you go to Amazon.com, let me pull it up here, and I wish if I'd prepared this in advance, I could have pulled it up on our YouTube stream, but Amazon.com/Star Wars. So I want to make sure I'm describing this correctly. Okay, so the Star Wars Adventure Across the Galaxy banner that comes up at the top when you do that. So down below, you've got all the items that you were just talking about. But when you click on that banner, it gives you a little bit of an explanation of what they're doing in I think it's each month. Yeah, if you scroll down about halfway down the page. So for January, they're focused on Hoth. And so as part of this store, they have a bunch of brand new Hoth-based Funko Pops, Hoth-based designs that you can get on T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, things like that. They've got some older products too, like they've got Lost Stars in here. But they've got the Black Series, Hoth Rebel Trooper, and a new Luke and Han from Hoth. They've got posters and little Chewie Funko Pop where he's hopping up from behind the little snow hill for the probe droid to shoot at him, which they also have in here. They've got Princess Leia at one of the comm stations in Echo Base. Phone cases. So it's all Hoth centered for the month of January, which ends in a few days. And then next month, presumably they're going to have a different, I don't know if it's going to be a different planet or just a different time period or a different focus, but
it's supposed to be themed to planets.
Okay. So think of it almost like
they've announced it as.
The Smuggler's Bounty thing that Funko Pop used to do that was a subscription service in the sense that every couple of months they do something different. So this is not a subscription service. This is actually a store, but every month they're going to rotate what they're featuring in the store, what's available. Now, I don't know if this Hoth stuff is going to be limited availability or if it's just going to be that then there's going to be a new focus for February. I don't know. But that is one of the big deals about this new Star Wars section of Amazon, not just the fact that now you can just go to Amazon.com/Star Wars finally, which is awesome. But there's this Adventure Across the Galaxy section. So.
Yeah, no, it's pretty nice that they've done this and kind of separated the stuff out for you.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that they're not trying to do this themselves through their own store and go to Amazon. Let them, they obviously do retail online well. They
wait a minute. Star Wars actually going through a retail outlet to sell a bunch of stuff? Maybe they should consider this for Celebration.
Maybe, but they still have the Celebration store that was open before and now closed down.
Keep in mind, though, Tim, that's not Lucasfilm's store. That's Reed Pop's store that they license their products from Lucasfilm in order for Reed Pop to sell Reed Pop things.
Oh, I know.
Not that there's a problem with that. They have every right to do it.
Reed Pop can't even manage their own store.
So the logistics of the traffic flow at the conventions and of the stores and the mechanical and technical difficulties and stuff are definitely something that we could do a 4-part podcast series on. Yes.
Oh, totally. But that notwithstanding, they don't know how to manage their store.
Like there goes our chance for getting press passes for the next Celebration convention.
Well, you can also extend it to the online store too. I mean, I pre-ordered some stuff from the Celebration store November that is still waiting to be fulfilled.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we'll see.
I did just, since I'm here on Amazon.com/Star Wars, I just picked up a Black Series Hoth Rebel Trooper.
I'm thinking about picking up the Han Solo. And the Rebel Trooper Black Series looks really good. And, I love AT-ATs, and I really think I'm going to pick up this AT-AT poster. There's something about like the angle.
I like that one a lot, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, the angle of the shot of it. It's a very action-oriented painting. Like, I'd love to know who that artist is, and maybe hopefully they do conventions and stuff. I'm going to pick that up as kind of get myself a birthday present, I think. And again, some of these designs for the sweatshirts and the T-shirts are pretty good.
Oh, the T-shirts, they look good. They have the same design with that poster on a T-shirt, too.
Wait, what? Do they?
Yeah, and a phone case. Galaxy
Later on in this episode, Eric, I've got some news for you related to AT-ATs.
They have a Black Series.
That you might want to save your money.
Humongous news.
Yeah.
Well, again, if it costs more than 75 cents, there's no money to save. But I do want to say they have... this might not be new. I don't know. I don't keep up with the more expensive items that I know I'm not going to get. But they've got a Black Series Snowspeeder with Dak Relter.
It's so good. It's
119,
excellent.
and I love the Snowspeeder vehicle.
It's very, very good. The only downside is it doesn't have electronics on it, but it is beautiful.
Yeah,
highly recommend.
It's so nice looking. Anyhow, I'm sorry. I can drool over this later.
No, that's okay. There's all kinds of good stuff to keep looking at and excited about. In fact, I had a Black Series figure arrive at my doorstep Saturday.
Yeah.
My Jar Jar came.
Your Jar Jar?
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
That's a
should have
big
Jar
boy
Jar.
package.
Do you have it?
It
Do
is,
you
it
have
is.
a picture of it?
Large.
I don't have it here with me. No. It's,
Wait, that's the one you posted in Discord. He comes like a surfboard. Do you see that?
it does
not
have a
a
surfboard.
It's
yeah.
a surfboard.
It is, yeah.
No, they understand that they need to jazz it up a little bit for Jar Jar to get people interested. So he comes with a surfboard.
And
I hear they're going to do a
definitely beach-
skateboard too.
It's definitely beach themed because he has that limbo stick
Right?
that they, two of the Gungans hold, and he's got a limbo underneath it. Yeah.
I'm telling you, smart marketing
Tim
there.
Tim is not looking happy. Let's move right along then. Have you guys checked out the first of the digital shorts they have on StarWars.com for the
Yes.
characters from the High Republic?
Yes.
Indeed. Yeah.
So this, and we were talking about this the other night on something about how the audiobooks, I tend not to get remembering names as well as I could if I read the book in print sometimes. So I totally do it like a second or third time. So I'm always like, okay, who is that again? What are the characters? I think this is great. They're doing these digital shorts. They're kind of the first one was just over a minute long, I think it is.
They're very digestible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're very quick to take in, and giving you the little blips here for like a biography about them helps me in my mind remember who the characters are.
Yeah,
which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree.
They're not really fully animated. They're not like a clip that they would put together. It's mainly still images using panning effects and making emotion out of the still images. This first one is on Brenda Rowe. She's the main character in the young adult novel, right, or the children's novel, the first one. That came out.
What's called the mid-grade novel.
Mid-grade,
the one that
there you
came
go.
out the same day as Light of the Jedi. Yeah, she's the main character in that one.
Yep. So then I don't know what time frame they're going to bring these more out.
That's the only thing. They need to do them faster because I agree with you completely. When you're listening to an audiobook, while you're listening to it, it's not that difficult to keep up with things. But with Star Wars, it's a little bit different because we like to commit those things to long-term memory because they have relevance to a bunch of other pieces of media and other stories and trivia and things like that. So when you can't see the spelling of a name and you can't just kind of your eyes linger on it for a minute, especially because it's a weird name, right? It's not like,
right.
Wade Watts from Ready Player One or something. Like it's,
right.
some weird Jocasta New or something like that. That's not like an actual name. So your eyes linger on it for a minute and your brain kind of burns it in and then your eyes move along through the passage. You can't do that with an audiobook. So it is a little different. And Light of the Jedi had so many different characters in it. I'm about halfway through it. It's a good book and I'm enjoying it. But it's tricky. It's a little bit difficult.
I mean, in the audiobooks, I find myself focusing on the action in my mind's eye, right? I'm kind of envisioning what's happening, and I'm not absorbing the names.
Yeah.
So.
And now in the comic books, it's a little easier too, but I'm always bad with names anyway, even in real life. I read the first issue of the comic book, and now, like, if I see the character, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's this Jedi. They do this thing. They have this personality. Still don't remember their name, but you've still got that visual reference for it. Right. They need to get these out faster.
These almost should have been before we started into High Republic.
That would have been nice too.
Or at least give me a couple people and let me build into
main
the first
characters.
But
yeah, I do hope that they release more in soon. I'd like to see a higher volume just because we are actively reading these books. We're being introduced to these brand new characters right now. And we're kind of getting immersed in these stories, which I'm really enjoying. So
yeah, me too.
I want to know more. And like you said, Lou, they're good reminders. I mean, even though I'm reading the physical books, it's still nice to see the physical, representation of them, the artist rendering of them, and it just kind of helps things.
It's a little trickier with the High Republic because unlike everything else that's come, where you have the story tied to some other significant event that's already in your memory, and I think that sort of naturally narrows down the characters, the range of characters, but it also has this sort of familiar guide rail for your brain.
Yeah,
you don't have any of that here, and I think in some ways that that makes it a little more difficult.
It's
but
disorienting.
I'm with you guys. I think that these little 1-minute guides are fantastic. I think they need to roll them all out in sort of short succession.
Yeah.
To sort of keep this momentum going. I think Light of the Jedi just hit #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Good.
Yes.
So the momentum is there. I can speak to the comic. The first issue of the High Republic is doing gangbusters. I think it's on its 4th printing right now, which is insane. I don't think
Really.
It's been a long time since a Star Wars comic has had that sort of popularity. I'm trying to think back. I know
and it's also big considering that we're in this pandemic and a lot of physical comic book stores have been shut down, and so access isn't as big.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, my dad's friend runs a comic book shop in North Carolina, one that's been around for a while, and he's had a lot of he's had to do like trades with other shops to get new copies of it in. He can't keep them on the shelf.
Wow.
And he can't get them from the distributor. So it's good to see.
Wow,
That is good to see.
I guess if you've got a copy, make sure it's bagged and boarded, because wow. Yeah, that's so. First of all, that's great news. Just that it's a success. The reception, other than certain channels on YouTube, you expect to, they were already calling it a failure the first day it came out, and we're like, really? Like, it's been 2 hours. Have you read the book yet? Aside from people like that, the reception's been really good. People seem to like it. It is a little disorienting. Even the names of the ships, like what are they called? Vectors? The fighters?
They do have art for some of those. If you just sort of concept art style stuff. And I just maybe we can send over the thing that I just dropped into the chat onto the Discord chat, but there's a handy dandy guide out there for Light of the Jedi that sort of ties some story beats to images of the characters. I keep it in my favorites in my on my phone, and I just have it up while I read the book, and every few pages I'll just glance at it to keep it fresh in my memory.
All right, I am saving it now, and I'm going to put it.
Yeah, that is nice to have.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the thing, Discord.
The thing.
Thank you for that, because I haven't looked at it yet, but just like in a thumbnail version, that looks like it's going to be really helpful, because I've had a little bit of a hard time.
It's a nice little fast reference chart.
Yeah.
Where was that from, Tom?
I saw it on Twitter. I don't think it's official. Okay. I think a fan put it together, but it's slick. Okay. Looks good, and it's got everything you need in it.
Yeah.
For a quick reference guide.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to study that one a little bit more. Okay, moving on to gaming. We talked about this last episode about Lucasfilm games coming back into play now, and they've done a lot of stuff in the last week or so, I guess, actually, laying the groundwork for some new stuff. What they're going to be covering, how they're going to be interacting with us, other things out there, other Lucasfilm properties and stuff too. I know this has been a big thing for people that, getting away from EA. They're still going to be around, but bringing more players into the mix. What do you guys think about Lucasfilm games coming back and the direction they're taking so far?
Ever since day one, when they announced EA exclusivity, there was just a big, massive groan let out. EA makes good games when they're not buggy.
They're sports games.
Yeah. They make good games when they're good games. Like, the production level is great for the things that actually get released, which is problem number one. Number two, for the things that get released intact and aren't full of bugs. And then for the things that aren't burdened with microtransactions to the point where you get sick of it and don't want to play it anymore. But if you look back on some of the bigger, well-liked games, EA makes several of them. I mean, they're a big name for a reason, but that exclusivity, I think, is what killed it. So first of all, them getting rid of Disney Interactive, they lost the whole Disney Infinity line, which was making them crazy money. And it was legitimately,
that was too bad to see
it was
that
a
go.
good system. My son loved it. I've still got the little figures. They make good collectibles. They're almost like Star Wars Rebels style or Clone Wars style versions of classic Star Wars characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the figures are really cool.
And the game itself, like if you like kind of the easy Lego Star Wars style video games, like that kind of just casual sit down and play it, this was like that, but better, in my opinion. Like it was a little bit more to it and a little bit more interesting, but also had a whole sandbox environment to it. So I was really sad to see that go. And just there's been such a lack of Star Wars video games for so long. We were talking about that right after the Disney buyout. We were like, what? It's like 3 years we've gotten one game. What's going on?
Yeah.
My read on this is that my first reaction to this was, well, weren't they already doing this sort of thing? Isn't that what the story group was for? And then I sort of slowly came around to the idea that this is them taking firmer control of the steering wheel.
Yes.
I think they had part of the story group that was sort of tasked with interfacing with the game companies and making sure that they stayed on some very general guide rail so that they didn't, conflict with other canon or whatnot. I don't think with a game like Battlefront 2 in the single player, they were in the weeds with Iden Versio and the creation of that storyline or whatever. And so I would like to think that their involvement will sort of enhance and shape the stories, particularly when you get to some of these games like this massively open world game and whatnot. I'll say Fallen Order. I compare the two big single player type games that we have. Multiplayer, I don't know what kind of involvement they're going to have on that front. But in terms of story driven campaigns, I thought Battlefront 2 was relatively weak. I thought it started out fantastically and then just sort of kind of quickly fell apart and just got kind of hit some convenient story tropes. I thought Fallen Order was really fantastic, but perhaps their thinking is rather than have Fallen Order be the kind of game that's like lightning in a bottle and it's great when you catch it, why don't we take a little more control and try to get that sort of level of quality in everything that rolls out?
It's interesting with the story group is so difficult to describe and is so commonly misunderstood. It's almost like they are part of the executive branch of the Lucasfilm government, and they're not the legislative branch of the Lucasfilm government. They don't make the rules. They don't make the content. They are just there to make sure that the people who are making the content don't break the rules. So, they have representatives who are tasked with dealing with EA, dealing with Fantasy Flight Games for the tabletop games, dealing with whatever group's handling the mobile games, dealing with Penguin, Random House Audio, dealing with like all of these, dealing with Hasbro. Anybody who's interacting with Star Wars, they're responsible for making sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, that Rey has the right color of outfit, that Mace Windu has the right color of lightsaber, that this storyline doesn't conflict with that storyline, but they're not there to say, you should do this story. So there's a level of quality control involved there as far as continuity, but there's no quality control from the story group on whether the game is going to be any good.
Right. There's no creative input that they have.
Correct.
And that's the big thing with Lucasfilm Games is that it's basically it's project management and it's creative direction.
Right.
And I think that is what is going to help them tremendously.
I'm just glad that they're opening up to more than just EA. The fact that EA is no longer exclusive and that other people can start doing video games again. And that they're back under Lucasfilm Games and they've got their own thing and they can bring in different projects or subcontract them or whatever it is they're going to do. It's great. And the fact that we're going to get an open world game.
Yeah.
That's massive. That's
which we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
Ever since Star Wars Galaxies.
Well, I mean, we have
is almost 20
we have
years
Star Wars: The
old.
Old Republic.
Which is still good.
Which is an MMO.
Yeah,
Both
right.
it and Galaxies were MMOs, but this is going to be a single player open game world. Like, so this is going to be something more along the lines of
Old Republic style.
the Zelda games for the Nintendo Switch, or like what you just said, Knights of the Old Republic, or any number of. It's almost going to be like Jedi Fallen Order, but even then it was a little bit linear. This is going to be much more just Skyrim. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Think Skyrim, but Star Wars.
Plus also the fact that they're doing not just Star Wars stuff. I mean, other things that are Lucasfilm properties. So they just announced the Indiana Jones game that Bethesda's doing, which I think is fantastic. And I am really looking forward to playing that on my PS5 when I get it in 7 years.
What are they calling it? Uncharted 4? Is that what the Indiana Jones game's titled?
I don't know.
I'm making a joke. Uncharted was kind of like more modern indie. Yeah.
Oh.
And maybe we'll get a Willow game.
Oh, really?
Crickets. I don't know. You said other franchises, and it's like every time we say that, I keep thinking, the other two. One that's old and dying, and the other one that's already dead. I love Indiana Jones. I love Willow. I'm just saying, and they do have other things.
You mentioned that.
And there's another thing coming too. Is there? Isn't there? Lucasfilm is doing something for Disney Plus that's based on a children's book series or something.
That they're doing some other property, some other things.
Yeah. So they're expanding.
It seems that Lucasfilm is expanding, which I think is good for them also. I think it's a little... yes, Indiana Jones is there, but also Indiana Jones hasn't done anything in a long time.
Yeah.
So really, like, Star Wars is the main thing. And to have an entire company just wrapped around that... it's very, very focused. And while Star Wars is expanding, so that's good, but it's still just been so linear. It's not even like, Marvel Studios, which has had all sorts of things going on. There's a lot of balls bouncing, but it's like Star Wars has just been so linear lately. So I think it's good, creatively also for them to kind of flex a little bit more muscle.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the next stories we have here, near and dear to Tim's heart, and mine too, because I also like Lego. Tim, why don't you bring us through some rumored releases for Lego for the summer of 2021?
Yeah. So there's a list of things that's kind of milling about. Of course, we know that we're going to have that UCS Republic gunship. We talked about that on Echo Base a little while ago. That's been confirmed. They've also confirmed a March release for an Imperial shuttle. That's about 660 pieces, so it's a nice size set. I'm tempted. There is going to be an Ultimate Collector Series R2-D2.
Don't we already have? I have one in the box still. Is this a different one?
This is a different one. This is going to be about 2,100 pieces. I don't know what's different between it and the one that came out 2 years ago that you're talking about, Eric. I have no idea. But I mean, I guess R2s are like, X-Wings and Death Stars. They just keep churning more and more of them out all the time. There is an Imperial troop transport that's going to come in at around 500 pieces. Another Slave one, because they also need another one of those too, that's coming in at about 600 pieces. The big one here, and I mean big, and we're not talking the Death Star that we mentioned on Echo Base a little while ago. An Ultimate Collector Series AT-AT coming in at around 6,800 pieces.
I was excited about this until I saw the price.
More pieces than the Star Destroyer.
Is it?
By almost 1,000, I think.
I was going to ask, how big was that Star Destroyer you built, Tom?
There are no pictures on this.
5,900. somewhere in that neighborhood. So
this is going to be an impressive set. There are no pictures or anything that are circulating around on it.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, there are. Which of you can read German? Wow, don't all speak up at once. Where's Carrie? Carrie, are you in the chat room?
Been there most recently.
Okay, so yeah, there's a link here that goes to promobricks.de. DE as in Deutsch, as in German. And they at least have the pictures of the boxes. So the Slave One does not look very impressive. It looks a very kind of 8-bit retro video game quality.
Yeah, it's a small set at 600 pieces. That's not much.
The AT-AT, though, so it's kind of like a mosaic of all the different boxes here, but the detail on it looks incredible. Like, this looks really good. The R2 looks pretty much like the existing collector's edition. It looks like maybe a repackaging.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Moff Gideon shuttle and the AT-AT look just... Oh, here's a video.
So yeah, there's that. There's going to be a Bad Batch shuttle, which is going to come in at around 1,000 pieces. That's a pretty good size set.
Nice.
As you mentioned, Moff Gideon's cruiser, which should be pretty good. I'm guessing based on the price that they listed, it's probably going to be around 1,700 or 1,800 pieces. There's a Mandalorian fighter. Which again, they didn't release a number of pieces for it, but with the expected price, I'm guessing somewhere around 700 pieces. And then there is a Vader's meditation chamber, which they didn't give any pricing or pieces on it, but just kind of one of those single scene set kind of things. I'm interested in Moff Gideon's cruiser. I think that is because that's a beautiful ship. I would love to see that in Lego, and obviously the Ultimate Collector Series AT-AT, which is just incredible. But I don't know that I'm going to spend that much money because that's an awful.
Yeah, it's going to be a big price tag.
Yeah,
you know what, like I'm kind of miffed about. We haven't heard any news about expanding the line of the helmet.
There's a rumor there's a Vader helmet coming.
I mean, that would make sense, Vader.
Yep.
It makes. I mean, they've got a ton of helmeted characters, or like even C-3PO. Not that I would want him per se, but those are all things they could do pretty well with this kind of a setup. And I just don't know why they haven't announced more of these. I mean, the only ones they have the 3 that we had from last year. The TIE Pilot, the Stormtrooper, and Boba Fett. And there's also a Iron Man in Lego, the same series of heads. But where's the rest of this? Where's the Mud Trooper?
Oh my gosh, this AT-AT is gorgeous.
If you're talking about the same image that I saw, it's massive.
Oh my gosh! Like,
looking around the room at where I could fit it.
No, go back, play the message back. Wow. Yeah. No, that's. I mean, if I had to choose between that and the UCS Millennium Falcon. I mean, this would take up less space because it's, more vertical, only hits the ground in 4 spots. I mean, the Falcon might be more iconic, but wow, this is like, it doesn't even look like it's Lego. It looks like it's a Hasbro.
Does it give you scale of how big the thing is finished?
No, but you can tell by the pips on some of the Lego pieces, kind of the scale. And I mean, I'm going to say it's.
I mean, is it the size of a German Shepherd?
It's a small German Shepherd. I get why it's that expensive.
Okay. There is Joe in our chat here. He found it on the Lego Ideas website, and so they have the concept art for it. So these aren't actual pictures; these are just the digital mock-ups of it. And he posted it over in Discord in the ForceChatter channel, and it is pretty incredible. So the Lego Ideas page, by the way, this is something that it actually starts off with fans. Fans can submit things into Lego Ideas, and for it even to be considered, they have to have fundamentally engineering builds of the thing up there. And then if Lego likes it, then it can kind of move forward, and it goes through several steps before it can even before it even gets approved to go ahead. So this is, but this is cool. This is very interesting.
Yeah, here's a picture of it to scale, built with like a human being.
It dwarfs
touching
him.
it.
That's the one that I saw.
Yeah. I took a screenshot of it. Once we're done podcasting, I'll post a screenshot into Discord. $800 though. I want to cry.
That's the problem with those big sets.
Yeah.
And what they're talking about here is, let's see, it can move its head side to side. It has room for 4 minifigs. The legs are posable at 3 places. So basically the hip, the knee, and the ankle. Let's see.
Yeah.
They're saying 5,400 bricks in this mock-up.
Okay, so one says a lot of bricks, the other says a lot of bricks. So a lot of bricks.
Yeah, that doesn't jive with the release. But again, this is Lego Ideas, so this is the concept.
Okay.
And ideas, anybody can submit Lego ideas. Right? They don't necessarily adopt that. And even the ideas projects that they do adopt, it's Legos. I don't think it's a complete one-to-one port of somebody's design.
Right.
Sure.
And also from the Lego Ideas page here, minifigs would include Vader, 2 AT-AT pilots, an Imperial officer with snow gear.
Better be Veers.
Yeah, it should be Veers. And Luke Skywalker in his snow speeder pilot gear. So, yeah.
You can blow it to pieces
cool
and then put it back together again.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So, yeah, there's some good things to look forward to. A lot of these are rumored. I have actually heard of some folks who have gotten into like extensive detail and leaked pictures and that kind of stuff actually getting pulled by Lego when they put these up on like from some of the hardcore Lego YouTubers and that kind of stuff, which is not something Lego usually does. So the thought is that
it's true.
These rumors are pretty true. Or pretty darn close to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's which is exciting. That's exciting. There's some
very
cool
cool
stuff.
Very cool. Okay, last couple news topics here just to round out our show before we get out. We're running a little long here, so we're going to blast through these. There's been a large set built in the UK for Kenobi. Did you guys check out these aerial shots of this thing? Little town of Little Marlow.
Tatooine town. I like that all the residents around this do not want Star Wars there. They're just, it's like typical like small town NIMBY, like not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard. Yeah.
Bring it here. I'll take it.
This amazing production? No, get it out of here. I don't like, you're disturbing the deer.
Yeah. They're saying a lot of the townsfolk aren't happy with it, with many of them complaining the construction is clogging roads and vans and heavy trucks, creating some light pollution and disturbing wildlife in the town, which is about an hour's drive west of London. The village's council gave Disney the okay to use a former quarry site that abuts a lake. Filming starts in March, and that's it. So, yeah, you know,
to me.
I mean, I'm not saying that stuff doesn't matter, because it does.
It certainly does. But the thing is that, I mean, at least with how things happen here in the U.S., is that if there's some company that wants to do something like that in a town, usually your like town boards aren't unilaterally making that decision. There's some kind of a, open meeting where people can express their concerns, show their support, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, those, some states do referendum votes, that kind of stuff. So I have to imagine that they at least there was an opportunity for residents to provide some input.
Well, and additionally, a lot of times there's some sort of a kickback to the community, either in local jobs that are temporarily created or additional taxes, or like there's some benefit. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy for us as fans to say, "Oh, shut up and stop whining." But
but it just comes down to the fact that nobody wants anything near anything. It's like we
were going to have a Disney park about 30 minutes down the road here, except all the residents were like, "Not in our backyard." I'm like, You know how much money that would bring in? Plus, I wouldn't have to go all the way to Florida or California to go to Batu. I mean, what's your problem?
Very true.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this does make sense. On a different topic entirely, there was a comedian years ago talking about this, and nobody, not in my backyard. And I said, well, what about building a prison? And they're like, no, not in my backyard. It's like, no, if somebody escapes, they're not going to hang around. They're taking off. Put a prison in my backyard. That's fine.
It could be the safest place.
Let's see. Felicity Jones. What article was this from? This is interesting. The ending scene for Rogue One, the one on the beach with the blinding flash of destruction.
Right before Scotty beams him up to safety.
Wrong franchise. But
that's how I explained it to my son. Go on.
There you go. They filmed this last scene every day for a week just to get the right lighting. I thought it was kind of cool.
Don't they have Photoshop? Final Cut
gotta
Pro,
get it right practically
After
first.
Effects.
They do, but they don't have tech to help.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They're long.
Exactly. So I mean, I think these kind of things are cool with these behind the scenes things that you find out from the actors or in documentaries about what it really took to get a particular shot.
And lighting is so finicky, and yet so vital.
Yeah.
And yet the lighting was kind of overpowered by that big blast from the Death Star. So
right. I mean, how much more light do you need?
That much time. Exactly. And then finally, we all love Bill Burr, right?
Honestly, I don't know that much about him. Like, I just never followed him.
He's a fun comedian. He's kind of polarizing, but he's a fun comedian to listen to.
Okay.
He always has pretty good rants on stuff, and I mean, I have a lot of respect for comedians that can dish it out as well as take it. And he's one of those guys. He'll throw it back to you and kind of go on and on. He was on Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. I don't know when this aired, but I remember seeing the clips this afterward, and there was a clip that we had here in the show notes. Yeah. About the response that fans gave him, being a Star Wars character with a Boston accent on screen. And, of course, we as fans will complain about anything we don't feel fits our own personal agenda. For whatever your personal agenda might be. And he came back with, some good comments back to them.
This was the stupidest thing.
On Twitter and in the show. I mean, they're complaining about his accent. We've never heard a Boston accent in space.
Yeah.
What really? And he goes on to talk about, well, the rest of the bad guys are all British accents, and what about that? What about the fact that they speak English? In a galaxy far, far away, you show up and hey, you can understand them perfectly. That doesn't make any sense. And he had Jimmy just rolling at the desk. It was a virtual interview. It was done over Skype or what have you. So he wasn't there in scene with him, but Jimmy was just rolling on the floor about this. I thought it was fantastic.
But he pissed off the internet because at the end of his rant, he used the N-word. He called us all nerds.
I did not.
Nerds, yes.
Except, ladies and gentlemen, he wasn't calling us all nerds. He was calling the people who are complaining about stupid, nonsensical, stupid stuff nerds.
The nitpicking nerds.
Yeah.
I'm not offended
nitpicking
because
nerds.
I'm not one of. I mean, we accept all the Empire being British because there were like hundreds of them, and every time one of them spoke, they were British. If hundreds of them had been with the Boston accent, we would have accepted that. And the one British accent, everybody would have been like, "Oh, okay, so what? They have British people in space?" Like, the roles could have just as easily have been reversed. It's just we've gotten used to one, and we haven't seen the other yet. But Aayla Secura from Clone Wars had a French accent, and there's no France in space.
Very true.
Right.
There's been,
and he's a former stormtrooper. You always hear their voice distorted through the vocabulator on their helmet. You don't know what they sound. Where
Maybe
they
all
come
sound
from.
like a Boston accent.
Yeah. All the officers are proper and English, but you think the average line soldier, doing the grunt work is.
No, you know how many
from
redneck
a
stormtroopers they got? I'm telling you, man. I can't understand a dang one
That
of
would
them.
be hysterical. That'd be hysterical.
Plus, there's humans, and there's white humans, and black humans, and Asian humans, and all sorts of stuff. And how in the world are they in the Star Wars universe? It's crazy.
I'm telling
It's
you right
unheard
now.
of.
I'm telling you
can they
right
do
now
that?
that the two troopers that Obi-Wan tricks on the Death Star, if they'd had their helmets off, it'd been like, "Hey man, you heard about that new TC-14? Yeah, a couple of that's how they really sounded."
I'm still waiting for the Minnesota, Manitoba accent.
Oh gosh, that'd be hysterical.
Oh yeah, look at them cute little droids there, eh? Oh, for cute.
That's in that fan film Troops. One of the lead sand troopers has that accent, and it is priceless.
It's perfect too. It works really well.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of the first episode of Force Chatter number 1.
Wow.
We have a long way to go to get
There
back
it
into
is.
triple digits again.
It's
No,
true.
we're triple digits. It's 001.
Yeah.
They're leading zeros,
Okay.
but they're still digits.
Yeah, well, they are. Fair enough.
Okay, guys. Well,
man.
thanks for listening. And like Eric said at the beginning of the episode, we're going to have all the same content just in this one channel for you now. So we'll do news, we'll do deep discussions. We got a lot of stuff to go over here, talking about the new stuff coming out for all these 10 series that Disney's going to give us over the next few years. Can't wait to dive into those a little bit deeper. But until next time, guys. Well, we can't close the blast doors anymore because we're not in Echo Base.
Sure you can. First, there are blast doors in space, spaceships. There are blast doors at Echo Base. There's blast doors on the Death Star. May it rest in peace.
Wait. Is it like a...
Lou, walk outside. I hate to break it to you, my friend, but you're still on Hoth.
That's true. It's
Yeah.
pretty cold. Yeah. I was thinking we could space somebody, but we're not really in space anymore, so
Keep it under control, Lou.
it's not an airlock. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. Chat room, thanks for being here. Always good to have you guys there with us, and had a lot of fun. And again, Tech, thanks for the awesome logo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Much appreciated.